This happened just a couple of months ago while I was scrolling through my social media account on my phone one night. I was kind of bored, so I decided to click on the online shopping store to see if there was anything cool on there that I could buy. I've used that marketplace once in the past to buy a phone, and it worked out well, so I would go back and look to see what they had occasionally. I needed a laptop, so I was looking for an ad and something got my attention. It was a 10th generation HP laptop at such a cheap price. It was too good to be true. I looked at the details and ended up contacting the owner. The post was made by a woman named Barbara, and she said she was moving out and wanted to sell things she didn't need. And the condition of the laptop was also 10 by 10. I got a message back from the owner about 5 minutes later. The owner was named Barbara, and she seemed a nice and friendly person when I started talking to her. She said that yes, it was available, and if I wanted it, I could come and pick it up the next evening. We agreed on 8 p.m., and it was set. I was excited to get the laptop because I knew it was most likely worth hundreds of dollars, which I was getting at such a cheap price. The next afternoon, I messaged Barbara to confirm, and she told me just to let her know when I was there, and she would let me in. Something that I should have done was to go through the seller ID to confirm the authenticity of the seller as well. But unfortunately, I didn't do it. Anyway, moving further in the story, I went to work that day. When I got off, I went home for a while before leaving for Barbara's. She had given me her address earlier in the day. I put the address into my phone and followed the instructions for getting there. It wasn't too far away, maybe 10 or 15 minutes. When I got to the neighborhood, it seemed pretty average and kind of old. I slowed my car down and kept looking both ways while driving on the road. Every house across the road seemed as if they were abandoned for years. On the road, I saw an old man walking, and as he saw me, he stood still, locked his eyes on my car, and kept looking at me from a distance. As I go near him, his glance intensifies with creepy expressions on his face. I leaned down to have a good look at him, and he was really scary to look at. As I passed by him, I looked at him from the rearview mirror, and he was still looking at me. I ignored him and continued to the house where I was meant to meet Barbara. I then turned onto a road that had a sign that said dead end. I kept driving, and when I got to the end of the street, it led to a single skinny driveway, which according to my directions was Barbara's house. The long, skinny driveway led right up to a detached garage, with an old-looking pickup truck parked in front of me. The house was very old, with its paint peeled off completely, the stairs broken, and even the windows had shattered glass. Once I parked, I messaged Barbara, telling her that I was there. She responded almost immediately, saying that I could come right on in and pick up the laptop from her. I got out and walked up to the front door. It was dark out by now, and as I approached the door, I noticed that all the lights in the house appeared to be off. Seemed a little strange, but I got to the front door and slowly opened it. It was unlocked. When I got inside, I couldn't see anything. I looked around on the wall for a light switch, but I had to turn on the flashlight on my phone. Finally, I found one switch, and I turned it on. A very dim light in the corner of the room appeared. I could see that it was an old living room, with a long carpet and some furniture. I didn't see any laptop at all inside, neither was Barbara anywhere in the house. I suddenly started to get a bad feeling. I walked a little bit farther into the house. There was a kitchen off the living room which looked pretty average, and then a hallway leading to a back door and another type of living room. There was also a staircase going upstairs and one going down to the basement. I couldn't find Barbara anywhere, and the place was giving me the creeps. I tried to get away from the house when I heard a noise coming from upstairs. I know that it was a stupid idea, but I thought of going upstairs. And as I took a few steps, I felt someone running just behind me and into the basement. I quickly ran back downstairs on the ground floor and peeked into the darkness of the basement. All of a sudden, the main door that I left open slammed close, and I saw someone running away from the window. As I stood there, I heard someone coming upstairs from the basement. I was creeped out now and tried finding a way to run away. Once I saw the back door, I made a run for it. Just as I heard whoever was coming upstairs from the basement started moving faster. As I went outside from the back door, I saw tall grass, trees, and wildflowers. I ran sideways through the backyard until I was in the neighbor's backyard. Then I went through a few more yards. I walked through a few people's backyards and then past someone's house to get back to the street. I looked from there at the house I had just been to. I couldn't see much in the night, but my car was there and I knew I needed to get back to it. I walked slowly down the street to get back to my car, which was parked in her driveway. I sprinted to my car and unlocked it. When I got inside, I saw that my front windshield had been smashed and the glass was all shattered. I backed out of the driveway, and as I did, I appeared to see a man looking at me from the front window of the house. He had a sort of evil smile on his face. As I sped away from that road, I drove across the point where I saw an old creepy man previously. And he was still standing at the same point and stared at me with the same intensity. This time he had a creepy smile on his face that I will never forget. I had to ignore him, as I was worried about getting home as soon as possible. When I got back, I saw that the ad had been taken down and the seller ID was also blocked. I don't think Barbara was even real. It was probably that guy who was looking at me through the window. I just felt and even saw someone in that house, but beyond that, I have no clue what was going on there.